Hey everybody, thanks for joining me again. It's Urban Libertarian here, and I want to talk about how this recent win in New York City by a Democratic socialist over a establishment Democrat is actually not good for the Democrats and very good for people who like freedom and even if you're a Democrat, because I don't try to look at it like that. This is very good for the American people. How about that? Let's look at it like that. And a lot of people are Democrats, might be kind of pissed off at the end result, but it's good for the American people. Why is that? Because look, this is New York City, and this girl's ideas are total like Bernie Sanders. I mean, she's admits she's a socialist, and this is not going to win with America. And if this is what the Democrats' strategy is, it's basically and it just they have no message. It's just anti-Trump. You're not going to win by trying to raise taxes. I'll get to that as well. And actually, the Trump tax plan is actually lowering the middle class taxes. I know my family's taxes will be lower next year when the tax law goes into effect. I saw that when we were filing the taxes. We got a lot more back. We'll be getting a lot more back, which is great. And trust me, we are not the 1%. So this is a good thing for people. And come next November, or what is it, April, when people do their taxes, even this April when people do their taxes, most people will see, give you the future estimate what next year's tax, if you do like TurboTax or something like that. And unless you're blind, you got more money back, and you can see that. Unless you're paying zero taxes, well, then you pay zero taxes, and this tax effect, it doesn't really affect the lower class because they essentially paid zero taxes. Now, I do understand how the lower class people do generally per capita or pound for pound pay more taxes just because the percentage of their income that goes to general living expenses gets taxed more. I get how that works, but bottom line, I mean, they just pay no federal tax and usually probably no state income tax. But I digress. Back to the situation at hand. So let's go through this a little bit. So this is according to the Daily Mail. So a 28-year-old Democratic socialist who ousted a powerful 10 terms, that's way too long, congressman on Tuesday is calling for the impeachment. Oh, I forgot about that. Immediately impeachment of President Donald Trump. So that's their message. And I think that's what most people don't want. Endorsing tax increases. Gotta love that, because that's what socialists do, right? They increase your taxes. And to roll back his December cuts, claiming immigration authorities are running black sites to house children at the border. So she's a conspiracy theorist. I thought that wasn't cool. Now that's mainstream. But I don't know what's going on in the propaganda media. I'm sure they're probably hailing this as some great win and all this stuff. But you're ultimately going to lose with this strategy. They're getting pushed way farther to the left, and most Americans are not down with that. This is only good in New York City and LA. So Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's upset Democratic primary win in New York City over Republican Representative Joe Crowley stunned political watchers as she promises to be a rhetorical bomb thrower in the White House. So there you go. I mean, that's what Hillary tried too. What's your message? Oh, hate Trump. I'm not Trump. That didn't win. Wednesday on CNN's, of course, New Day program, Ocasio-Cortez was asked if she would back a move from the left wing of the Democratic House caucus to impeach Trump. She says, "I would support impeachment. I think that, we have the grounds to do it," she said. Oh, she's so intelligent too, isn't she? Telling Democrats to hold fast to the position that when people potentially break the law, that we have to hold everyone accountable and that no person is above the law. Wow. I mean, really, so this seems extremely hypocritical. I'm sure she supports Hillary Clinton, who broke the law, and by that account, by her thinking, then she's a hardline immigration. She should have a hardline immigration policy because it's illegal to come into the country if you overstay your visa, if you fly into an airplane, if you could walk in from Canada and overstay your visa, if you fly in from Europe and on a tourist visa, if you come in from Asia on a student visa and stay and then keep working, if you come in from Guatemala on the hell train through Mexico and cross the border illegally, it's breaking the law. And she says, here I quote, "When people break the law, potentially break the law." Wow, you don't even have to break the law, you just potentially. That we have to hold everyone accountable and that no person is above the law. So since she's for separating families, I mean, there it is. Because if you're held accountable, you're put in jail. You can't have your child in jail with you. Interesting. Interesting. So moving on. She's a hypocrite. She claimed Trump has racked up violations of the emoluments clause. She doesn't know what the fuck the emoluments clause is. I guarantee it. From day one, profiting from foreign payments to his family real estate business, giving Democrats ample room to roam. Oh, well, then you would be against Hillary using her foundation. I mean, what the fuck? So she says the U.S. and check this out, U.S. Immigrations and Customs Enforcement. She says that they're running black sites near the U.S.-Mexico border, and it violates the human rights of children. There are no black sites. Now, I understand it. If you do look, there are some weird. I saw a documentary, a small expose, and it's weird. A lot of people don't know about this. In Chicago, look this up. In Chicago, the police were running these weird, real black police sites where they would jail people without like processing. It's very strange. Look into that in Chicago. Very bizarre. Yeah, I'm sure that I know this does exist. Was it The Intercept or somebody had a great article on the NSA listening stations throughout the United States. One of them is in downtown LA. If you're ever in downtown LA by that building, the famous building where the aliens blew up in Independence Day, right next to that, there's this strange building with a tower on top, and that turns out to be a AT&T No Such Agency listening station, processing station. Very interesting. Yeah. So, but anyway, they put them in like Poland and in Eastern European countries. They don't put them in the U.S. The real black sites. And here, check this out. So she says she could be a forceful check on Trump for millennials whose political apathy is often grounded in a sense of powerlessness in a system that favors, I guess that's a typo. I assume that's much older voices like Trump's. If you think this girl or any movement like this is going to be a movement for the millennials, good luck. They don't vote. I voted in this last whatever election, midterm. I don't even know if it was a midterm, whatever it was, the election here in California in LA. There wasn't anybody under like 40 in there. There's no millennials voting. What do you tell? You're screwed. They're not going to vote. Cortez also blasted the 2017 Republican-backed tax cuts on MSNBC because she wants to raise your taxes, everybody. Channeling Bernie Sanders, the multimillionaire with multiple houses, by saying $400 billion in givebacks to taxpayers could have actually forgiven every single federal student loan in America. Now, let me ask you this. I've been paying my student loans for like fucking over 10 years. Okay? And now, is that fair to me? I'm almost paid off. Is that fair to me? Okay, if maybe, do I get all my loans forgiven? Do I get a check that's cut? Because that'd be awesome. But even if I benefit from that, I'd still be against it because it's not right. You shouldn't do that. If you took out a loan, you took out an obligation, you knew what you were doing, you signed the paper, you got to pay it back. I mean, and if you're against that, then I don't know. It seems to me like you're an evil person because what you're saying is that you want somebody else to pay for your shit. Fuck that. Fuck that. Pay for your own shit, fuckers. Tell you that much right now. Pay for your own fucking shit. That's fucking bullshit. You signed that paper. You know what you were doing. That's it. It's like herpes. It ain't going away. Even if you claim bankruptcy, student loan debt is pretty brutal. But don't tax people. And then they can maybe pay for their own college tuition. I don't believe in taxes in general. To be fair, I guess I'm radical, but I'm not a socialist. So raising taxes to support new social programs is absolutely possible. You're going to raise taxes on the poor to give the money to the government so they can give the money back to the poor? I mean, it doesn't make any fucking sense. Anyway, what was I looking at? Where was it? So this was just about polling and how most Americans agree with. 70% of Americans oppose a visa lottery. 80% of Americans believe that immigration should be based on merit, skills. 60% of Americans believe that dreamers are allowed to stay. They should not be given preference to bring relatives. And 80% of people want secure borders rather than open borders. So if she thinks she's going to go on an open border policy and she wants higher taxes, okay, and then here's the thing. Do you consider the amount of federal taxes you have to pay is too high or about right? Okay, the percent of too high. Now look at this, 2018, boom, it's dropping because people are realizing that they're going to pay less tax. Think about next year. What is it, right? I mean, I guarantee it's going to be like right here. Look at this number shooting up, right? So people say it's about right. So the number of people, look at they're intersecting, okay? People don't want to pay more taxes. And here's another one, false claim, GOT tax plan, nothing more than middle class tax increase. It's false. I just told you anecdotally it's false. If you don't believe my personal experience, because I did a search for this and almost every news outlet, and it came up, it was Huffington Post, all these fucking shit rags, propaganda rags, right? They kept saying, oh, it's going to increase your taxes, increase your taxes. Now, granted, it's the Centrist Tax Policy Center, okay, and the Conservative-Leaning Tax Foundation, okay? So there's your due diligence. They said, we found that most taxpayers would be getting a tax cut. Okay, so I agree with these guys. You know why? Because I'm experiencing it, fuckers. That includes most middle tax income players, at least payers in the short run. Okay, the Tax Policy Center estimates 91% of those who earn between $50,000 and $85,000 would receive a tax cut averaging about $900 in 2018. Now, it's not that much, but shit, it's better than fucking $900 you didn't have. It's not increasing. It's not increasing, okay? And then it was 7% would see it go up, and then it was what? The rest would see their taxes remain the same. So 91% of the people are going to see at least some money coming back. So all the propaganda rag outlets saying that your taxes increasing by this is bullshit. And if you make less than 50 grand, you're not getting taxed at all anyway. And if you do get taxed, it's like fucking 5%. Fucking pony up. Thanks for watching.